Hello, hello. There's a part of me thinking I should set the lights, the cameras up and sit in front of that there. There's the dog, and sit in front of the original poster for the old school mega event. That was on the stage, that one. But no, I'm going to find out what the dog's doing upstairs and sit where I was for the last mega event story. Hello. Okay, so yeah, I was going to do it downstairs in front of the poster, but the big camera needs charging. It also needs its memory wiped after filming yesterday. So this is the mega event story part 2, which I think, to be honest with you, always should have been called the showcase. And I looked at the poster before and I said, it was called the showcase. The mega event idea, if you watch the original mega event video, I go into there and I explain, I sit down, I talk. As I film this now, the mega event was yesterday, the second mega event, and I just think it's good to get it off there. I'm off today, and I'll get there with a story of the mega event part 2 in a minute. But the original mega event, if you watch the video, and a short story of that was when we moved shops in the metrocentre, we try to bring live and local back in the space. The shop's a lot better, but again, we don't have that much space for a band, and then we're right next to Primark, and then there's you're in a shopping centre, so it's not like we're a high street shop, so you got to respect your neighbours. But again, it's trying to bring artists in. And Mitch came in, and they were like, right, you can't play at the front of the shop because that's kind of like the best place for it, because what's going on there? And then you've got, obviously it spills out in the mall, but again, we're on the upper floor, but also the noise as well. And we tried with Liam. Liam played back in the shop, seemed to go alright. But ever since the first one, the metrocentre have been really supportive, and it's a new metrocentre as well. And they were pushing to go, well, why don't you play on the Gnome stage? So it's been just over 6 months since the stage. I thought at Christmas the Gnomes would have been back for a Christmas story, but again, I totally forgot that Santa Claus would be in his igloo house, and everyone would be like ice skating out in that area. And yeah, it didn't happen. And then there's been a few. We were going to do a food festival at one point. The metrocentre contacted us about that. So like Jack Melcrease, Steve Pledger, Conor Michael and Matt Fairley were scheduled in with Liam as well, Liam Carr, for a possible food festival. The couple have moved the dates and stuff like that as well. So that didn't come to full circle. So since the original mega event, and I sat down here and I talked about it and I put the overlays on and I told you how we got to that point, I'm not going to bother with this time. I'm just trying to vent out now, because there might be an outtake after tomorrow when I've been back at work and I've got a bit of feedback to see how it went. Because I'll tell you how I generally feel how it went, but it's not for me to say that there will be another one. Obviously I look a lot different, as I've had a share. So yeah, so since the original mega event, it was like, well, what was next? And to be honest with me personally, away from work, I've got a lot of things going on production wise, and I've definitely been a bit more creative like I used to be. I've definitely had a refuel, I've definitely had a respark of what I could accomplish, and I think that maybe something to do with the mega event as well, saying like, can you actually put a band on? Can you put a performance in the metrocentre and live in the metrocentre? And it's like, again, as a music video director, it was like, you look at locations going, can I do a music video in the middle of the woods with no power? Yes, you can. And like the metrocentre was a massive thing, and Sapien Records was a great collaboration with them and the metrocentre. And the first event was Scott Michael Callaghan, Courtney Dixon and Benjamin Amos, who were awesome. Benjamin, I really like, I know I love Scott in bits, but Benjamin's song, I just like that moment, as I said, bang, and carve headline, it was just perfect. And Steel Time Music did the audio, and it went fine. So again, it was like, what was next? So basically, Steve Pledger returned to the shop, played live on his new albums just come out, which is awesome. Connor Michael played, and he was great. I really enjoyed Michael. And we also did National Album Day. And National Album Day was a big event for us. I like, again, less is more with me. That's been my theme, and for the last 6 months or something, less is more. Especially when it comes to my stuff away from work. But I'd basically looked at what I wanted to do for National Album Day, and I thought, right, it'd be pretty cool just to take over the shop all day, and then instead of doing one a week, we'll just have this big, collaboration of like, what's going on here. There's bands playing all day. And my original plan was for Matt Fairley to headline. And I knew Matt, and we were all trying to push Matt. And Matt's just had twins, and Matt's an amazing songwriter, and he's really just decided to put himself out in the front line. So Matt was going to headline Jack Melcrease, who'd also played in the shop recently. He was going to come along and play. His album had just come out, In My Stride, which is awesome as well. Josh Henderson I'd asked to play as well, who I'd seen and had supported Cav at the Hard Rock Cafe the year before. The Logos came along and played as well, who were awesome. Liam was meant to play but couldn't make it. And India Arkin was also meant to play, who was the first artist signed to HMV as well. India was moved to the Friday after because of touring conflicts and stuff like that. So we ended up with, a week of just music and stuff like that. And it went really well. And again, pushing Matt's stuff, that was something to me. That he's a homegrown product. He's a CD. And again, looking at fair enough a band playing live in the shop, but it was more right, what can you do and what's better? And as I said, when Matt says throw 3 tracks on an EP and give it to people, not going, there's my album, and it's don't get me wrong, Steve Pledger, I know you'll be watching this, but Steve Pledger's album's £12. It's an amazing album, it should be on vinyl, but Steve's album's £12, and someone walks by and go, oh, what's this? Well, it's my album. Right, do you have an album? Yeah. And it's one of those things where there's a track. So giving something away, physical media is a thing, because you can walk away even if it's an archive. So when people doing live and local, I was like, well, this needs to change, this needs to change, this needs to change. And Connor and Steve were brilliant. And we hadn't had them, because Christmas came and went, and it were kind of looking like when the next Gnome show was going down. And I was looking what can I do next? And again, less is more, and I've got a lot going on in the house. You're going to hear this in here, and this should be the only time you hear it, but after the mega event finished last night, I had to go and check on my gran. She's 93-year-old. And then this morning I've had ambulances and stuff out at 7 o'clock in the morning. And you try to balance that on top of all this. It's a lot to take in and a lot to do, and there's a lot of stuff other going on, but it's kind of my life can be quite hectic at times. So I was kind of right, okay, I'm thinking of ideas. And then other shops are doing this, and other shops are there's other shops doing some amazing stuff. I mean, Conor Michael went off and did a podcast at Newcastle store kind of thing, and I'm thinking of ideas to do. And I had sort of been talking to Geoff Mull at this point about what to do, and could we possibly do a tour. And I met Geoff for a coffee, and I was just yeah, I think it's possible. And I think a lot of bands are doing it now, but I was thinking last year, and I might even mention it in the other mega event story, that it should be easy enough for bands to tour, and I think that'll be really good. So the bands that are really good, get an album in. Again, the HMV label is now set up, but get these bands on tour. You know what I mean? And tour them around the region. And I was pushing for that. And so, again, it takes a special kind of band at a special kind of stage in their career. Geoff's self-contained, the touring all the time. He's got an EP, but it's all about it's a difference between he's got an album, but he's also got the streaming side of it, and it's also touring and bringing people into the shops or whatever. So I met Geoff and we talked, and I was like, right, this could work, but it's a pipe dream at this point. And obviously I've been reaching out to other HMVs and the FOPS shops, and one by one they've started to fall into place. So HMV Leeds, it's happening in Livingston in Scotland, it's happening in Carlisle, it's going to happen in Middlesbrough. And the idea was that by the time Geoff had toured all these shops, he would then play on the mega stage. That was the plan. So I was dealing with that, and then they were just well, you don't have many lives on. And I was just yeah, because I'm still since again the last mega event, I've directed 2 music videos away from work. I did Scott Michael Cavigan's Guilty Pleasure music video, and I've just done Matt Fairley's Sunday Morning, which again, coming off the back end of the National Album Day, I always wanted to do a music video with Matt, but again, we did that when we can fit it in. So again, I go to work and I do my job, but then this is extra, and I find this is kind of a grey area between what I do away from work and work. that I don't have a problem with as long as I control. But like, there's a part of me, you know, still going like it's still a shop. But again, I looked at local talent and I started going right, looking around and going right. Do you want to come and play? I went to some buskers nights. I went to buskers nights in Newcastle a few weeks ago, and I'm looking around and I'm going, hearing word of mouth and like, you know, like, oh, this artist should play, and like, right, okay, so here's the diary. Again, we've never had a full band in, but now we're going to try for a full band, so I thought, right. So I started booking loads of bands in. Now, as I was doing this and looking at a diary, I got a diary and sort of going, right, this Sunday I'm away, this Sunday that, and again, we could do this then, and, you know, I'm also now in pre-production for my next music video, and I'm trying to go, right, I need to be away directing then, so I can't do it then, and then I'm thinking, like, you know, what works. And the whole thing with Geoff was, right, the stage. And then all of a sudden, the stage was happening, and I honestly, God, shit you not. About 3 weeks ago, this wasn't even fucking meant to even happen. Sorry, I wasn't trying to swear, but again, I'm just like ranting away. But you know, I said, Geoff, like, the stage is there, and I'm going to ask the question, and like, Geoff's been awesome because like, as updates and coming and like we're trying to announce the dates and. You know, Leeds were on board quite quickly, but then Carlisle trying to like, they're looking at their things and trying to get them across the Pennines and trying to get them into Scotland and stuff like that. I asked a question, and Coastal, who's a guy who works at the metrocentre, is absolutely awesome, and it says, look, this will be a band. And I'm thinking, you know, like, I thought the first band that would ever play in the metrocentre would be the Mitchell band, and it's something I still want to actually happen. But there's a part of me going, right, and you look at the bigger picture here, because like, I think the metrocentre HMV should at least get more signings, and it should get more bands on tour, and the metrocentre needs a revival, and I think the metrocentre head office are really pushing that. It just takes time. I mean, there's some big unitaries being built. I mean, there's a lot going on behind them, boarded up stuff, because people would know here. It's gonna be, oh, I miss Metroland. Like, Metroland, I think if they try to do some least nostalgia with Metroland in some shape or form, I think that could work for them. But I've already said this a million times. Build a water park near the metrocentre. That's what they need. Yeah, that's what you want. So anyway, back to Geoff. The metrocentre got back to us and says, right, yeah, you can have the stage. And I went to Geoff, I says, look, dude, they've said yes. But there's been concerns, and there's been concerns about the drums and the noise of the drums, and this is the first ever live band in the metrocentre. And there's a part of me that kicked into like, right, okay. And I sat down, bottom corner right there. I sat down about 3 days ago. You're never going to hear what I'm saying. You're never going to see that footage. But there I am in the corner. And I've just generally went, right, it's a couple of days until it, waffled away, get rid of that. It's been one of those things where I had to look at everything, from a band playing on the stage to security to risk to what this benefits, who this benefits. It benefits the metrocentre, it benefits HMV, it benefits me in a way away from Lonely Tree. And me coming in and going, right, can I control an event like this again? And I just sort of went, yeah, I can. And that's me being just, right, I can do this. I don't need to fucking stress about it. And I didn't. That rant was me going, no, I'm not going to stress about it, and I didn't. Alright. And like, last night came around after, you know, like the announcement, concert, Firefly Media, concert, Newcastle Magazine, Barry Kirkham, you know, interviewed me and Geoff via WhatsApp in Poland. A massive shout out to them, because they did some great media attention. We're going to do a follow-up interview. Of course, I can't do it today because of my gran. You're watching this long video and all that. So I can't really commit to a phone interview. I mean, my phone might ring in a couple of minutes, I'll have to go, but and then there'll be a jump cut, but hopefully I can finish this rant and get to what I was fucking waffling about. See, I'm starting to swear now, because I know fine well I've been waffling away, but again, it's a story of a mega event, now called the Showcase. But yo, I spoke to Geoff quite a few times. and the drums were a massive concern. The drums. And I went down, I introduced myself to the gnomes. They were absolutely great. The guy who last time, who was like, I don't even remember, in the other video where I went up the stage and I went, "Hi, we're here to play after you." And he goes, "Hello there!" And he was just like, "Hi, we're here to play after you." And he leant down, he went, "I have no idea what you're talking about, but good luck," and stayed in character. He gave us a massive, great introduction when Geoff was going to go on the stage. But I went around and introduced myself to the gnomes, introduced to the new tech expert, went around all the shops and introduced myself. I says, "Look, it's half an hour, you know, we're going to package this up, and like hopefully down the line this brings in bands on tour through HMV, and it goes like this is going to be like what's going on, you know, it's February, it's half term again, there's a lot of kids around, hence why the gnomes are on, but again it's late in the metro centre, you know what I mean, and it's like it's right near the food courts, it's an interesting thing if a band is actually on there, and can I do this? And I jumped through every hoop, just covered everything, and like Geoff turned up, got them access, walked through, and people stopped Geoff straight away, you know, giving them fan art and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. Massive shout out to Mark, Geoff's keyboarder, because he's the guy who did the sound, and I tell you what, I had no doubt that it was going to be controlled perfectly when I just even first impression of him, so that was fucking awesome. The rest of the band were really cool as well, and you know, they came in as a unit. You know, he got flash mob straight away. He was getting pictures taken. We came up, we looked around, took it in. The guys went for a coffee, and then you know the gnomes finished. They gave this great introduction to stick around, and there was so many people waiting for Geoff. It was crazy. Massive shout out to Haley, who I work with, who's one of our Christmas temps. Who, you know, she was just perfect to crowd control because there was a lot of like younger fans there and that. And I was like, again, Geoff's not a gnome. But like the buzz there, that there's something going on there. She was great. Kev came in on his day off. Casper was watching from afar, and it rolled. You know, Britt turned up after work as well to help with the second camera. And I wasn't like thinking about filming it. My concern was making sure everything went right. Coistal came down. Coistal came out of ours. Head of security Tim came down. And I was like, oh shit, straight away. And he loved it, you know, like Coistal and that, the drums, sound check went great. They were happy with the sound, and Geoff played, and he was great. He was absolutely great. I filmed the last two songs entirely when I realised, you know, like it's gone well this far, but up until that point I was like, I did little bits of vlogs and stuff like that, and it was great. The crowd were engaged in it, they were clapping, they were singing, which was great because they were not only were they singing the Tucker's Miracle thing, they were singing Geoff's own music, which shows you how popular Geoff is as an artist. He needs an album out in HMV as a solid product. Geoff should literally be one of the next artists signed at the HMV label and get some of his stuff out on like vinyl and stuff like that. He's like a bear, you know, because we were out the back, the band had set up a sound check and went great, and we were out in the back and he was just doing some final notes, and he opened up like, "What do I wear?" Like a travelling magician. He was just like, "What do I wear?" And he's just so broad, he's like a bloody bear. How's he bloody hell, man, you're like a bear. And you know, just, you know, he's right, humble. We walked through and you went on there and just absolutely owned that crowd. And after it, you know, so many people coming up wanting pictures, stuff signed, people like pajama bottoms signed. I was like, t-shirt signed. And the Metro Centre, Coastal again stuck around for ages, and we packed up, and it was a 12-hour shift. And for me, I went from a late to an early shift, which are hard enough to do anyway, but add on that extra time as well, and then to have the grand factor at the end of it. But I'm looking back at yesterday and just overwhelmed and just over the moon. It's almost like I dreamt it. Like, that's where I sleep. You know, and just, you know, you couldn't ask for it to go as good as it did. It hopefully opens the door. Again, I know I'm not going to develop this video now, so the outtake will be me tomorrow if I've heard any good feedback or anything, but it might be Monday, and then there'll not be an outtake and I'll have to think of something to do. But I couldn't have asked for it to go well. I couldn't ask for it to go any better. So going down the line, there's a lot more artists planned for HMV. There's a lot of different kind of artists, from bands to pub singers to karaoke people. I would honestly love, right, honestly love MC Hammersmith to play at HMV, but obviously he is absolutely R-rated rude. He's playing in concert in April. I'm going to go and see him anyway because he's class. But yeah, but again, with the shop, now that we've done this, follow the shop because there's some crazy stuff happening on the Instagram. They've really taken the reins off us as well because we've been doing comedy skits and stuff like that, you know, like I wouldn't even think that the company would have done about 10 years ago. But again, there's some really cool stuff coming down the line, and Geoff was just awesome. Oh, yeah. Right, I'm going to go because my feet are asleep. That's not a joke. I can't feel my foot. I've been sitting cross-legged. But yeah. Oh, the only good thing yesterday as well, I got asked if I could have me and Corey Feldman could be in a book together. There's Corey Feldman there, random. That's random as hell, but I got contacted saying, no, you know, your picture with you and Corey Feldman, we're going to put it in a book. I was like, yeah, go for it. That's another thing I was dealing with on the stage. I was like, that's mint. Like, that's mint. And then, you know, you just looked out and it was like 400 people like looking at us, like, and then the crowd just got bigger and bigger. And I was like, right, I need to pay attention and not worry about my picture in the book. Yeah, just random. Right, thanks for listening to this waffle. Goodbye for now. It's absolutely stone cold. Brilliant. So it's the day after I did the showcase event 2 rant, and all is well, all is good, about Geoff Mull. So today, seeing the release of the live video I did yesterday, it's come straight out, it hasn't waited, I'm over the moon. This video is in black and white. I've made it black and white. But yeah, I'm over the moon with it, and yeah, I'm just nip and tuck my rant video, and yeah, awesome. Goodbye for now.